Hi all, Alex here at Star Trek Models. Just wanted to run through as far as I've got really with this Voyager model build that I'm doing. I've only got as far as drilling the windows out on the model, as you can see. I'm using the Photo-etch set on this one, so this should look really good. I don't like the plastic windows that come with this model. They're a bit of a pain in the arse to mask up and then paint, and yeah, I find when you pull the masking tape off it generally pulls the paint off. So I just wanted to show you how far I've got with this and just a few tricks with drilling the windows. Now I kind of went ahead and I drilled the windows on this model. I didn't do it in this video or any previous one because there's quite a few on YouTube already of people drilling these windows out. And I think the principle is pretty much the same no matter who's doing it or how you're doing it. You use a Dremel and a small drill bit and you just work your way around the model. The only tip that I would advise, which I've learned over my time of doing these, is I see a lot of videos where they'll drill a hole at the top and at the bottom and then they'll drag the drill bit between the two holes. Now a lot of the time this will work absolutely fine and you won't get many issues, but I found on the thicker parts of the plastic on the model you'll get the drill bit sort of doing a kidney shape, and if it picks up too much plastic and the drill bit's going too fast, it will melt the plastic rather than drill it out. So you can end up really messing up the windows and causing yourself a lot of a headache trying to fill them back up and then re-drill them. So I just find that the easiest thing to do with these windows is just to drill a small hole top and bottom of the window and then just use a craft knife with a nice sharp new blade in it and just score between the two drill holes, same on the back side, and pop the bit of plastic out. It's that simple. You can obviously trim up the sides just to match the two drill holes, but it gives you a good profile if you've got a drill hole in line at the top and the bottom. All you've got to do is just knock the middle piece out and you've got a nice straight oval looking window. If you want to take your time and try and square them up like they are originally on the model, you can do. Personally, I think when you've got the crystal clear in there, it doesn't make a really big difference to the look. I mean, once that stuff's in there and it's all lit up, you can't even really see what shape the windows are anyway. If you want to be a perfectionist and do them square, by all means, the best thing to do is what I do, is use a really fine file. It's a square file, it's got a pointed tip but it's actually square all the way around. So if you can get enough of it in there to square them off, this is a good file to use, but bear in mind you will make the windows a little bit bigger than what they are on the model. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't like to drill out all the windows on this. Try and keep it as realistic looking as possible. So obviously on any starship no one's going to be in their quarters the whole time, so some of the lights will be off. And I find if the windows are a lot bigger than the blanks that I will leave, which let me just see if I can zoom in on this for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So the blanks here on this bit, I'm trying to keep the windows the same size, just so when I paint these black, once the model's all painted and finished, they all look true, if you like. So yeah, that's just my opinion. It's just the way that I do it. I didn't want to show you guys me drilling these windows out because the process is pretty simple. It's a hole top and bottom, 0.8mm, 0.9mm drill bit, and then yeah, just cut between them. So I hope that's of some help. Obviously if anyone does want me to show a video of how I'm doing it and sort of the finished result through the whole process, please leave comments below and I will do my best to make a video for you of me drilling the windows. With this Photo-etch set you get some nice brass stencils for the windows on the bridge. all I did with these was I just rested them on the right way around to how I drilled them. I just rested them on there like so. I marked them with a fine tip Sharpie, and then a really small drill bit. I think the one I used was about 0.8. It may have been a bit smaller actually. I hope I'm not lying to you. It may have been a 0.7mm bit, and all I did was, going against what I just told you with the other windows, but it's the only way to do it, I drilled one hole on one side and one as close as I could get it without the drill bit jumping into the hole I just drilled on the other side, and then literally dragged the drill bit really slowly to the other hole. And as you can see, they turned out quite well. I don't know if you can see that, the camera's focusing on that. They turned out quite nicely. Obviously the ones on deck one are the same, they're a stencil. They're quite easy to use. Just bear in mind that the plastic, especially on deck 2, is quite thick. So my Dremel is a very speed one, and I just put the thing on like speed 4, it may have even been 3, and just really slowly drilled through. So it was drilling rather than melting the plastic, and that's how I've got windows that are pretty much the same size as the drill bit that I used. So just a tip for you there. The rest of it's quite easy, you just super glue them in. As you can see on the underside, I've got the Photo-etch bits all super glued in there. I put some hot glue round the brass bits to the plastic just to give them a little bit of extra support and stop any light leaks that may occur around the bottom side of the windows. As you can see, all the bits that I put in the saucer, I always put a bit of glue around them just to stop anything seeping through, especially the lateral sensors on the side. They're one of the worst bits to have light leaking through, especially on this model. And if you put some glue just round that bit there, try not to get it on the join where the bottom part of the saucer glues on. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the long run, and you'll be able to keep a nice detail along there if you want to paint these different colours, which a lot of people do, and I think I will do on this one as well. I want this one to look as close to studio as possible, hence using the Photo-etch set. I'm not sure that I'm going to add in a registry light there. Two reasons really. It's going to be a bit of a pain to get it around the brass parts. As you can see in there, there is not a lot of room to get an LED in there at all. I might try and get a fiberglass filament in there just to sort of give it an effect. As you all know, if you've built this model before, you'll know that no matter what you do with the registry light, it will never actually sign on the registration. Not at all, because as you can see with a simple pen, that's where the light would have to be, and it's absolutely nowhere. Sorry, you can see that. Ooh, camera. There you go. It's absolutely nowhere on the model without it sticking out the top here. It's not going to shine on there, basically. So it's just for effect and realism. Yeah, so that's about as far as I've got. I've just glued together the engineering section. Now I like to do this quite soon on because the stand pole is really important. It's really important to get in there and get mounted and make sure that your model's going to sit nice and straight on the stand. So all I do with that is lots of glue down this seam once you've closed it together. Obviously you don't want loads of glue absolutely pouring out at the bottom of this seam, because you'll get rid of all these nice details like the warp core, the ejection hatch for the warp core. Where I'll generally put the pole on this model is out of the sort of secondary reactor hole, which is at the bottom here. I'll drill straight through this raised section here. Let's mark that with the pen so you can see that a bit better. So I'll drill right through that raised section there. On this model, because I've got a little bit more cables than I usually have out of the Voyager one, because I'm doing this this sort of active buzzard collector lighting, if you like, so it looks a bit more realistic, like it's in operation. All I generally do to prep it is I'll put some filler inside where the stand pole's going, as you can see, just to try and level that bed out so that when you put the nut on it sits nice and straight and you don't get the stand pole sort of leaning to the left or to the right, because obviously once it's on its stand you want it to sit nice and level, not cocked to one side. So just a bit of filler in there just to level that off, and then I'll drill a hole through there, and in this one I'm going to stick a M10 thread bar. It's hollow obviously, so I can get the cables through it. And what I do is I put it through the model with a nut on the end. Once that's through and sitting down there nice and straight, I'll put some super glue around the nut, or some Loctite, so it sits in the model and this nut can't spin, because I've noticed a few times on the earlier models that I built of these that the nut was spinning, and so was the bottom one, and it was actually pulling this seam apart where I was trying to re-tighten it back up. And once it's on the stand and you're doing like the last details and you're moving the model around a little bit, it can work its way loose. So do always glue this down onto the plastic part of the model on the inside. It just stops it twisting. Yeah, it's a really good trick to do. Once that's sticking out the bottom of the model, I'll leave that, I'll cut that down a bit because it's a little bit long, but then eventually it'll sit in this pole which will be mounted into a stand, and that just slots in. So it's nice, it's a nice easy thing to do, because whilst you're painting and detailing you haven't got a stand sticking out getting in your way. You just have about 2 inches on this thread sticking out of the engineering section. As soon as you're done and you're ready to mount it on the stand, all you have to do is poke the wires down the tube and slot it in. It really is a much easier way of doing these. You can also you know, detach it from the stand if you want to at a later date. It depends how many cables you've got going through there, but if you're doing a simple lighting system with these, then you should really only have 2, because your flasher unit, well, I would mount the flasher unit inside the model to save me having to bring down 4 cables, if you like. So that's as far as I got with this guy so far. As I said earlier, just with the windows, take your time, don't rush them. I mean, mine are drilled as you can see, but they're nowhere near finished, and I will keep perfecting these and cutting them and filing them out and sanding them down as I go through the model. I mean, they probably won't be finished until I start putting sections together and getting it ready to prime the outside, because if you spend so much time doing this, and it is a time consuming job, you can find yourself trying to rush it to get through it, because it's not the most interesting part of building a model. I'm sure a lot of you that have done this know that. So yeah, I just sort of come back to them, I'll do a bit, do something else on the model, come back to them, file them down, sand them down, and yeah, just go nice and slow. If you find yourself getting impatient with it, then just move on to something else. And that's about as far as I've got with this so far. I'll try and keep you a bit more updated as I move along with this model. In my next video I will be doing the nacelles. I'll be doing the lighting in them, so I'll give you a quick preview of what I'm hoping the buzzard lighting is, buzzard collector lighting, sorry, is going to look like. And I'll just show you how I sit the strip in there, run the cables. I'll try and hide the, I don't know if you've noticed, but when people put LED strip in these to light up the blue part of the nacelle, you can sometimes see the individual LEDs through the glass or the plastic glass window. I've got a little bit of a cheat to try and hide that as much as possible, so I'll show you guys what I do with that. So it looks more like a whole glow rather than 6 individual LEDs. It's a good trick. It's not too difficult, it's very inexpensive to do, so I'll run through that with you as I'm building them. And I think that's all I've got for now. So if there's any questions on anything that I've done so far that I haven't mentioned, please drop it in the comments below, or feel free to contact me on my Facebook page, which is exactly the same as the YouTube channel. It is Star Trek Models on Facebook. I am having a new website built at the moment, but it's not there yet, so I'll let you guys know about that later on as that progresses. Don't think there's any other news so far. I'm going to try and move along with this model at a reasonable pace because I've got someone that's very interested in a few builds, so I'd like to move this one along quite quickly. I'm going to try and put this one in a display case and do quite a funky looking stand. If you've got any ideas, or you could send me some links through the Facebook page of something people have done, that would be really helpful. I'm thinking of doing like a control panel sort of effect as a clear perspex stand, so that's what you'll see on the top part of the stand, and then just some piano black acrylic sort of as the outside box. I think that would look quite cool. I obviously don't want to take away too much detail from the model itself because that's obviously what I'm sort of selling. So yeah, any stand ideas would be really helpful, guys, if you've got anything. I'm a bit bored of the ones that I've been using. I've had them a long time now, and I'm looking to do something a bit more funky with the overall display of this model. So if you've got any ideas, yeah, please let me know. Until next time, I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please click the like button. If you didn't, there was something I was missing, then yeah, just drop me a comment, or dislike it if it was really that awful. Thank you very much, guys. I will catch you again soon. Cheers. Bye.